superintendent engineer in Nagarjuna Sagar, Vijayawada, and Hyderabad for the Krishna Delta River Basin. He retired as a deputy chief engineer for PWD Andhra Pradesh State in the unified Andhra Pradesh State. Another highlight of his career, he was a driving force for the Institution of Engineers AP chapter, where he served as a secretary and then became a national board member. He is also the chairman of Association of Engineers, AP State, and was instrumental in leading a successful challenge in the Supreme Court of India to get the recognition for the engineers in Andhra Pradesh that they deserved. And one side note about his career is I think in 1950s, he, as a deputation, went as an assistant professor in JNTU Kakinada. I would say, at least from my mother's recollection, one second. Yeah, as my mother's recollection, it was his golden period. He loved teaching, inspiring students, and encouraging the pursuit of excellence. My mother shared with me that hosting students, providing home-cooked food, and building lifelong relationships.
Mahesh, sorry to interrupt you. Can you just say stop sharing at the top of your screen? Your screen is shared. Is it yours or Miss Adilakshmi? Can you please stop sharing your screen, please? I see the name C. Adilakshmi. I think accidentally you hit share. So can you please unshare? There's a button called stop sharing at the top. Adilakshmi Garu, can you hear me? Okay, so let's see if I can do this. Okay, there you go. Sorry, go ahead, Mahesh.
Oh, thanks, Amit. So, I was talking about my mother's recollection of his time in Kakinada. She shared with me that hosting students, providing home-cooked food, and building lifelong relationships with the students was the most enjoyable time of his life. I want to talk about, while I have spoken much about his career and accomplishments, I think he is most known for his character. He was noted as a sincere and honest officer with impeccable character. I would say his moral compass was shaped by strong and supportive women in his life, first his mother, and then his wife, my grandmother. During his 30-year career, his record was never tarnished with a black mark of impropriety or bribery. Another character is his hard work. Coming from a family of farming background, shaped his approach to work. He designed for Delta region drainage systems with a fair, equitable distribution of water. The farmers showered with love and gratitude during his tenure for his work. Another character, humbleness. Even with his high position and accomplishments, he was grounded and humble. His love for his family and his hometown led him to settle in his native village after retirement, leaving his lifestyle and power behind in Hyderabad. Being honorable without any influence of money was some of the great characteristics that his 6 kids took from his life. Values. He inspired values like importance of saving, supporting cultural associations, and above all, treating his colleagues and subordinates with respect earned him lifelong gratitude. In conclusion, my grandfather may not have earned a lot of wealth, but he earned a generational wealth of goodwill from all the people he touched, both directly and indirectly. My mother and the rest of his kids took the value of education, hard work, humility, and honesty he instilled and inspired them. I am proud to say I and the rest of his 12 grandkids and all of his great grandkids were blessed to have him. Thank you all for attending. And special thanks to our keynote speaker, Mrs. Uma Ghurka Garu. Today's topic, empowerment of women through entrepreneurship, is a value that my grandfather would be proud of. Hope you all enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahesh, for joining so early in the morning from Denver. Cold Denver, I must say. I'm sure it's pretty cold now. I'd like you to meet, very relevant to the topic today, I'd like you all to meet Mrs. Uma Seshadri. Uma Garu, can you switch on your video? I can't see you on my screen. She is the president of our FOSWL chapter in Cupertino, the mother chapter or the founding chapter. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Uma Garu, you were a little... Uma and Uma, right? So I'll have to distinguish. Uma, you would be happy to know that Uma Seshadri is a much accomplished lady like you, and she recalls an episode of having visited your factory. She retired from the nuclear facility at Kalpakam, Kadandi?
Yeah.
Kalpakam, where she was actively involved as an engineer. And apparently when she visited your factory, and she had some questions still remained unanswered. So you walked in and said, that lady answered brilliantly. That must have been 40, 45 years ago.
Yeah.
So she is the president of our chapter in California, Cupertino. I just wanted you all to meet her.
Thank you.
So nice to meet again.
Yeah, I know. I was so happy when Subbarao Garu sent the invitation. So I just wrote to him this incident. I still remember.
So may now we have a very interesting topic being presented by a person I see, I say, who has walked the talk. It's not mere idle talk. But before she starts the presentation, I'd like to remind you all, since some of you are first-time attendees, if you'd like to get the invitations for future meetings of FOSWL, punch in your name, full name, your email address, and mobile number into the chat box. We'll add you to the respective email and WhatsApp groups, and you'll get invitation for future talks. Every month, the talk is held on the third Saturday at 6:15 p.m. IST. There's no change. Every month, third Saturday, 6:15 p.m. IST, and it's on Zoom now. So you can pretty much join from anywhere. May I now invite Vijay Nathan, who's joining us from San Jose, California, where also it's pretty early in the morning, to introduce our distinguished speaker for this evening, Uma Ghurka. Vijay?
Sure. I consider it a joy and an honor to introduce today's speaker, Mrs. Uma Ghurka. I've known Uma since about 50 years back. She was 1 year my senior at IIT Madras. So I've closely witnessed her phenomenal growth as a person and as an entrepreneur. In 1975, soon after graduation, instead of a safe job, she took the harder road, developed electric flexible heaters, an innovative product, and thus started her company, Thermo Pads. That company further expanded with setting up of Thermo Cables, a cable manufacturing company, and Thermo Systems, an EPC company for fuel oil handling systems and firefighting systems. The history of Thermo Group over these years makes for an astonishing reading. It has grown from a turnover of rupees 1.2 lakhs and just 11 employees in 1979 to over 2,000 strength and a turnover of rupees 900 crores. Currently, Mrs. Ghurka is the technical director for Thermo Pads and director for Thermo Cables and Thermo Systems. While her technical competence and managerial success are laudable, it's Uma's passion and commitment towards social upliftment that sets her apart. She was practicing corporate social responsibility long before it was a buzzword. It's more like Paropakaram Idam Shariram. It's part of her life. As the managing trustee of the Sri Ram Charitable Trust, Uma focuses her attention on education, medical services, and rural development. There are many organizations that she has supported. In the interest of time, I would just mention three. Kaluram Ghurka Vidyadaini Vidyalayam at Ghatupal village, Nalgonda, which gives education in Telugu and English media from nursery to intermediate for more than 700 children. They've made a financial contribution for the establishment of a 100-bed non-profit hospital at Jaisalmer, Rajasthan, a tie-up with Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences, NIMS Hyderabad, for extending medical services to people from Nalgonda district. Since 2004, Uma is the founder and director of the Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs, COWE, a non-profit company working towards the empowerment of women through entrepreneurship. This practice of getting involved wherever a need is seen is what led her to set up Ahvahan. Many of us see the daily news from India today, some of which, especially in the area of women's and girls' safety, can be deeply disturbing. Uma says she saw one such news article and immediately wanted to get involved in creating change. Thus was born Ahvahan. I will let Uma share more about it, and I'm hopeful that her audience would feel inspired to join her, as this is a critical need for our society. Sometimes when people achieve a lot, they may say, I always dreamt of doing good. I can tell you that Uma actually did dream of it. In the hostel, we used to ask each other to wake us up before an exam. Once when I tried to wake her up, Uma was dreaming that she was at home and I was her sister Seema. She said to me in Hindi, Seema, there's a beggar at the gate. Take money and go give it to him. Much better than handing over rupees is her current focus on giving women the opportunity to succeed in their own business ventures as gutsy entrepreneurs. What I find even more impressive is her identifying that for the poorer sections of society, women who could earn as industrial workers, free daycare for their children is a must. Uma has set up free daycare centers for them. This project, Anvisha, once again deserves to be supported. Mrs. Uma Ghurka is the recipient of several coveted awards, including Best Woman Entrepreneur Award by ECGC in 2017, Best Alumnus of IIT Madras in 2015, Best Engineer Award by Lions Club International in 2012, one of 50 leading women entrepreneurs of the world, presented at Monte Carlo in 1999, and the Best Woman Entrepreneur of the Year from Sri Gianni Zail Singh in 1984. I've picked just a few of the awards and accolades in the interest of time, but rest assured, Uma is a high achiever in every field she participates in. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Uma Ghurka.
Thank you so much, Vijay. That was a very nice introduction for a worthy speaker. Uma, I'd like you to also, she's not here, but know about, I mentioned to you about Sudhakar, who former chairman and managing director of ECIL. His wife, Padmaja Potluri, was, I don't know whether she was the first chief engineer or amongst the first chief engineers in the civil engineering field, and she was in the designs for a very long time. Sudhakar, was she the first chief engineer?
Yeah, she is the first lady chief engineer of combined Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah, and a very accomplished
Also,
one.
And also she was the engineering chief of Andhra Pradesh.
Engineering chief, much in the footsteps of our founder, ML Swamigar.
Yeah.
And Uma, I'd also like you to meet my wife, Ushasri Tipirneni. She is on the screen. She heads an NGO called Roshni. And
yes.
Roshni is
heard a lot of it.
Yeah, suicide prevention helpline.
Right.
And if I am not wrong, I think they have about 100 odd volunteers. Majority of them, at least in their trust, are all women. So I think your initiative is, being replicated in different fields. I just wanted to give you a sense by introducing 3 women. I'm sure there are many other accomplished women, including Vijay, who introduced you. But just to give you a flavor. With that, may I now request you to start your presentation? You can share your screen, and may I request all of you to please punch in your questions in the chat box and mute yourself. Thank you. Uma, the floor is yours.
Namaskar, and a very happy and warm evening to all of you. Thanks, Vijay, for that very elaborate intro. But that was interesting, the dream on the early morning, which I don't know, I totally forgotten about. So that was a very interesting memory you're getting back. It's really my honor to be talking to such an august audience. And most of you are far more qualified, far more accomplished and knowledgeable than me. So I'm very humbled to be doing this talk. Not just the three Mr. Subbarao had just mentioned, but I think everybody here is far more accomplished than me. It's, but all the same, I'm really happy that I'm having this opportunity to talk of my passion and to talk of my work towards it. And thank you, Sucheta, for giving me this opportunity. There was a time I was really passionate about engineering, innovation, and developing new products. And I did that for quite a few years. Somewhere along the line, I started getting more interested in women, empowering women, and I started feeling it was my duty. And over the years, it turned my passion. There are three initiatives that I'm actually working on. I mean, that I started and I'm working on. And so in this talk, I'll be splitting this talk into three parts. And after each one, we'll have a small break of any questions or any clarifications, any interaction. That I hope should be okay to take it forward like that. So starting with, I was really very fortunate that I grew up in a home that was in the true sense liberal. There was no difference between a boy and a girl. We got every opportunity that a boy was given. Any opportunity, every opportunity that one could think of. We grew up in, I mean, studied in the best of schools, institutions, and we were given the best of exposure in every field. So when, I mean, by grace of God, I got the same encouragement from my husband. But when I looked beyond my very khushi dunya, I realized not all women are so fortunate. And that's when I had this urge of, creating some kind of a platform or ecosystem where, we could give the same encouragement, the exposure, the support that I got from my home to all my women folks. Being an entrepreneur myself, all that I could think of was entrepreneurship. Coincidentally, today I should share with all of you, November 19th is Women's Entrepreneurship Day. So it's just chance that, this thing fell in place on Women Entrepreneurship Day, and I'm delighted that I'm giving a talk on this today. So I started actually encouraging women to, build their self-esteem, remove their self-doubts, grow in confidence, hone their skills, and most importantly, recognize and unleash that dormant potential sitting within them. I would typically share this poster with them. I don't know if I'm able to, you're able to see that properly. So there's poster where, you're seeing the line within, and so I tell them to look into that lion power that is sitting within them. And so initially it was motivating them to, know what they can do. And then since I strongly believe in it, I think women are meant for entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship ideally suits women for various reasons. From my experience working on my own, I realized that the qualities needed for an entrepreneur are intrinsically built into a woman, be it multitasking and versatility, perseverance, and commitment, problem solving, managerial skills, what one running a home is a lesson in management by itself, and the unique leadership skills that women have, which needs to be harnessed upon. The women also have an advantage getting into entrepreneurship, because to venture into business, the risk taking, I think becomes easier for a woman, because most often she may not be the primary breadwinner. So she therefore can take much longer gestation periods and risks. Of course, the flexibility of working from at any time, from any place, and at any pace. Very important is also any pace, because in a job you have to be on the rat race to go on in your career. Here, based on your priorities in life, you decide how your growth curve has to go. When you can go steep, when you can go slow. So these are things that, make me believe women actually should look at going into entrepreneurship. So as nature does it, it puts together like-minded people. And therefore, we happen to come together, 6 of us, all first-generation entrepreneurs, and all with the same objective or that same passion to build entrepreneurship, to empower women with entrepreneurship. And then we started Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs, a not-for-profit body. I will share through a PPT, a presentation, okay, so what are the activities of Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs, what it is all about. It was in 2000, give me a minute, I'll just, okay. So in 2004, 6 of us started with 22 others who supported us in starting. The vision was that we build a national association of women business owners to propel women entrepreneurs into economic and social power. The mission was to do this with knowledge sharing, networking, developing skills, and facilitating a lot of things that are needed to get into entrepreneurship. When we started with in Hyderabad, headquartered here, but today we are 1,000 plus across 11 states. And the structure of Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs is that we have every state independently has their managing body with the president, secretary, etc. And then we have one national managing committee with the national president, secretary, etc. So the independent states, the independent chapter managing committees take up their own programs. The national body tries to support them to whatever level. And of course, above this, we have the board and 6 founders and 1 more. We are 7 directors on the board. Over the 18 years, we've had good recognitions and certifications. We were recognized as the best business association by the Federation of Telangana and AP Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We have FCRAs, so when we get funding from abroad, it helps. We have ATGs so that tax benefits are available to anybody who wishes to fund. Some of the few things that, over the years, we have been able to mentor up to 100,000 women in the last 18 years. We have been on the board of MSME, that's the micro, small and medium enterprises of the government of India. We are a stand-up India, we are a hand-holding agency for Stand-up India. Stand-up India has a special scheme that the government has for giving loans to women. And they encourage that, women avail of it, and we help to bring awareness and help facilitate in their taking this. Lots of training programs and MOUs with similar bodies to increase our networking. So what we do are like market linkages through exhibitions, online and offline, training programs of different kinds to help to build skills, like I already said, all this networking and knowledge through seminars, networking and knowledge sharing. infrastructure support. I'll give you a little detail on this as we go down the slide. Advocacy with the government is another big area that we work in. So like market linkages, the usual on physical exhibitions online during the COVID was something that was really successful and really helped a lot of women to be able to carry on the business in that difficult time. We have a tie-up with some schemes that governments have, or corporates have, like Amazon Saheli, where our women members are given a preference for networking, for marketing, training programs of different kinds, specialized workshops if they wish to take forward their enterprise in a particular area. Like I already said, seminars and conference on networking, knowledge sharing, mentoring support by connecting them to funding agencies or consultants or government bodies. Infrastructure, we have been allotted a 30-acre land exclusively for women entrepreneurs in Telangana, Tupran. And this is the first engineering industrial estate to women. So it was offered at a slightly subsidized rate to the women to take facility for them. CSR projects, we do quite a few, but one of our key ones is Aveksha, these daycare centers, which you also just mentioned. And I'll elaborate on this a little later because that's my initiative. I'm spearheading it, so that today takes a lot of my time in COVID. Advocacy with the government, we know the challenges women are facing at the grassroots level. So we are able to take this forward to the government and try to bring in policies that can help women. I'm very proud to say that the last budget, we were the only women body that was called for a budget discussion, sharing platform with the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Finance Minister. Our National Secretary and our National President were there. They were also called on by Doordarshan to give a special talk on the Stand Up India scheme of the government. So then we have counseling dissemination, knowledge dissemination sessions. We've had through the journey many partners, some of them who have funded us, some of them who we collaborated with to do things. This is just a few of these. Poshitik is a program that we are working to build food entrepreneurs with healthy foods. Healthy Cluster is a program that we are working with tribal women farmers. Not with tribal, rather to support tribal women farmers. An FPO, food processing producer company can be set up with a combination of a technical agency, a nodal agency, and an implementing agency. So the Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs is the technical agency, and our role is to upgrade the product of these farmers. Over 5 years, train them. This FPO has all farmer directors. Over 5 years, train them on management, and then they take over the company. The objective of this whole thing is that the women farmers grow their incomes by at least 2-3 times by upscaling and also by reaching up markets where they can get good returns. So that is Young Kovi is another initiative where we try to catch them early. We have this Young Kovi that works with colleges. We have competitive programs for students with business ideas. And we try to inculcate the spirit of authorship while in college. So while they're, as soon as they're out, they can come up with their startups. So we have many plans for the next 3 years. We want to increase to 4 more states. We have to set up 20 daycare centers. We have set up only 6 so far. We have want to set up some more clusters. We already have an incubator we've set up, and we want to set up more, where the incubator helps a person to come start their business at the initial stage and grow it there and then go there. So this is all that that Kovi does, and over the years when we started, and now there has been a sea change in the role of women. Today, women constitute 50% of the tech force in jobs, but still in entrepreneurship, only 14% of the businesses are owned by women. So there is still a long way to go. Although today women are in all domains and are doing quite well, and things have changed a lot, but there's a long way yet to go. And we are trying to bring the market awareness at the grassroots level, at the rural level, and also see how they can avail of these facilities, see how the facilities facilitate the government schemes. Government has very, very good schemes to support women businesses, see how these can reach the women. So COVI stays committed to its journey to take forward businesses of women, and the journey is on, but there's a long way yet to go. So with this, I'll stop. If there's any thing that needs to be clarified or anybody has any query.
There are a couple of questions if you would like to take them. One is, as a part of COVI's effort, are you also working with governments of different states to ensure policy initiatives for empowering women? That's one. The second suggestion, I think, is, don't you think it would be nice to have men in COVI on your board and else, so that, you know, the gender equality or sensitization starts right there, as being opposed to having a distinctly women-centric thing, because that will be taking an opposite position.
Okay. So on the first, we are working with the state government, and the central government to take up women issues of women in businesses. So that's where I said with advocacy with the government we do. And that's an important part of what we do. On the second, taking men on our board, it's interesting. I think we should think about this more. I would think in my second and third initiative that I talk about, there I'd really like to take them on. I mean, we need them. We need them here to actually, to make any real change. We need the men to be part of it. We cannot look at doing this all, by ourselves. We really need them to take come. And so, yeah, we definitely can think about this here. In the other two, I actually want men to join us, which I will talk about later.
Yeah, I think those were the two things I got in my personal walks. Maybe you could go on to the next one. Would you like to?
Okay, yeah, right. So the second initiative, it's a part of what COVI CSR that I spoke about. This is the picture. I'm sharing that picture, just one. So Aveksha is the name of the center, which means to care for. And we've set up these daycare centers. We actually did one 3 years back on our own at one industrial estate, and we got very good response. And after which we had approached a year back SIDBI with a project saying we want to set up at least 20 20 daycare centers in the various industrial estates. The reason to pick up industrial estate, basically the idea was, how can we support working women at the, the blue collared ones, and all other women who can afford it can always find themselves some way their children can be taken care of. But the working women, it's very unfortunate, where do they leave their children when they go to work, and in what conditions they leave them. So we wanted this in all areas, but then we found it simplest to go to the industrial estate because the beneficiaries are quite close, and from the industrial estate we can get space. The government can give us a space, and so we approached with that project, and Fortunately, SIDBI was very forthcoming, and they promised to support this for 2 years on the operations. However, this project requires the combination of 3 or rather 4, with SIDBI supporting on operations, funding the operations, with the Telangana's Infrastructure Corporation supporting by giving us the space, and individuals, philanthropists, individuals who have come forward to set up. Once we get the place, it needs renovation. We need all the furniture and, you know, the play material and all the needed accessories. And that we do. We have to really make the place look vibrant and lively. So that is done by support from individuals. With 2 lakhs, we are able to set up a good center. So the combination of the 3, and of course, Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs does the managing the complete show, the training of the caretakers in the center, and all, and designing the program, etc. So we have been fortunate. We have already set up 6 centers, and people are coming forward, and we're looking for more support to set up such centers. I have 4 of my IIT friends who are supporting 1 center each, 2 of them being Sucheta and Vijayathan themselves. So typically we set up the center with, the Aveksha board, and then say the infrastructure supported by so-and-so, whoever, name they wish to. So we have to set up 20, 7 in the coming year and 7 the next year. We look forward to support from individuals on this. And we also look forward to support after 2 years, SIDBI will be out, and we have to keep it going. So ideas on how to make it self-sustaining, because at that level, how much we can manage. I mean, we don't want to make it a commercial thing. We still have to give us support to them. But how still we could make it self-sustaining, or how we can get funding in the long run. I mean, some ideas are like, if one person just says, I support a center over a period of time, and then that ensures that, okay, there can be a center running for the next 5-7 years. And we're looking for ideas for that, and then of course support for that in future. So this is the work we're doing. It helps the mother working woman to go to work at peace. She can definitely bring out much more productivity. And it's a big satisfaction to give the child a very homely, vibrant, and a learning atmosphere. It is that formative years of the child when you can make a difference, real difference. And so we feel very happy about doing this. And it's very, very satisfying. After we started, we were looking only at women workers, but what we found was, at least in one center, 6 or 7 women who hitherto were not working. After they found this facility, they dropped their children and took up jobs. So it actually empowered women at that level to start taking up jobs. And that was very, very satisfying. There are many challenges in running this, but when you hear of these stories of some women, how it's impacted them, it gives you that drive to go on. So this is all about Aveksha. And again, here, if there is any thing that needs to be spoken, any questions, anything to talk about further, I'll be welcome to take it. So
I think there's only.
Okay.
Sorry, there was something. Was somebody trying to? No, I think you can go on.
Okay, fine. So now that comes to the third initiative. So having worked towards financial empowerment, whether it is in entrepreneurship or it is with the women workers, I have found that the real empowerment doesn't come, and research also has shown, in spite of building your capacity, your skills, in spite of financial empowerment, the women don't really always manage to live their dreams. They all these above don't give them the decision-making authority, the financial controls in their homes. And that is the reason for this. So the social norms so deep-rooted, the gender biases that society is so insensitive to, the patriarchal norms, the lack of accessibility to their own finances or networking, and very importantly, the very unsafe working conditions at workplace and in public places. These are the great impediments, the big impediments to the real empowerment of women. A burning desire to bring this change in the gender biases, to bring a level playing field for men and women, saw the birth of Avahan, a call for gender equality and harmony. As a first step, we try to have adolescent boys and girls recognize this difference, to be sensitive to it, the imbalance, and then we want to work towards how we can. The World Economic Forum has shown that India ranks 136th out of 147 countries in a gender gap index, and which means by gender gap index, it is the social, political, economical attainments or achievements that the difference in the social between men and women in these areas. Another very alarming data is that the World Travelers Record says India is the 9th most unsafe country to travel to. Isn't this very concerning? And values are falling by the day. So while on the one side there is financial empowerment with women, the value system falling continues to keep this gender gap. So Avahan has been designed to effectively address these two components: empowering women to build their self-esteem, confidence, and skills in self-defense. And the second component is counseling boys to recognize, be sensitive to this gender bias, and they become the change makers. That is the idea. Through a brief video, I'll share what we do in Avahan.
What you are seeing are the seeds to a future society, a gender equal and harmonious community. In the government schools of Jadcherla and Narsapur in Telangana, in Ayodhya and Gorakhpur of Uttar Pradesh, in Amravati of Maharashtra, the adolescent girls and boys are engaged in developing a perspective to equal rights and opportunities. A future society where women and men have equal opportunities to grow, develop, and attain optimal potential. It is the beginning of a new generation of people who think differently, act differently, and create a new social norm. Welcome to Avahan, a consortium initiative. It's a call for gender equality and harmony. Started by the Sri Ram Charitable Trust and implemented in multiple locations pan-India in partnerships with credible local organizations, the results from Avahan so far have been overwhelming.
ये रेड ब्रिगेड यानी सेल्फ डिफेंस की ट्रेनिंग है। आप सोचें कि कोई लड़का अगर लड़की को छेड़ता है, कुछ टेक्निक हम लोगों को पता है जो हम लोग बता रहे हैं, विस्तार कर रहे हैं, ताकि लड़कियां जो रेप हो रहा है उससे बची रहें।
हम अकेले रोड पे जा रहे हैं तो अगर कोई पीछे से बात करे तो भी हम लोग यूज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन हमें पहले है ना उसको छुड़ाने की कोशिश करना, किसी से हेल्प मांगना, अगर पहले ही उन लोग को अटैक नहीं करना। अगर कोई उन लोग और हद से ज्यादा कर दिया और हमको और छेड़ने की कोशिश करे तो जब हम लोग ये टेक्निक्स यूज कर सकते हैं।
You are aware that violence against women is a violation of fundamental freedom and rights. Surprisingly, in most of the cases, the accused are persons known to the victim from the neighborhood or family. On the other hand, millions of men and boys in India continue to be socialized into a culture that normalizes gender-based violence and discrimination. Men and boys will continue to grow with the same attitudes and learn discriminatory behaviors if civil society does not actively create opportunities for them to understand and learn gender equitable behavior. Hence, if we are to make progress towards achieving gender equality, we need to start including boys in the solutions alongside women and girls. Avahan, a call for gender equality and harmony, embraces this core view into the design of its program. To share a bit of the personal thoughts that fueled Avahan, Mrs. Ghurka is a first-generation woman entrepreneur and an alumnus of the IIT Madras. With a degree in electrical engineering, she started the Thermo Cables company along with her husband over 50 years ago.
Avahan is a call to bring back to women the dignity and respect that she rightly deserves in society. It is so unfortunate that today society norms accept abuse and teasing of girl child as a normal practice, and it's so rampant. In 2018, February, an incident had totally shaken me up. It was a ghastly incident where a toddler child was abused. It was so disturbing, so shocking. It was then that I committed to myself that I shall work for the self-defense and safety of the girl child.
Avahan has two components: self-defense training for adolescent girls and gender sensitization for adolescent boys. Self-defense training for adolescent girls is a 16-hour main training curriculum spread over 2 sessions a week. The main training is completed in a month's time. Subsequently, 2 refresher sessions are held with a gap of 1 month each. Knife, attack, air attack,
kicks, madam. Kicks, punches,
punches, up punches,
lower punches, eye punches,
low punch,
upper punch, lower punch,
air catching,
heel punch, bending and attack.
The second important component, that is the gender sensitization for boys, is a 15-week program covering topics like gender and social norms, patriarchy, masculinity, gender-based violence, etc. Each week, adolescent boys undergo a 2-hour module followed by take-home exercises. Such an action and reflection model is expected to not only build the gender perspectives but also test their ability to negotiate new social norms within their home, school, and communities. One would agree that to achieve a gender equitable and harmonious society is a Herculean task for any individual. It needs a large collective action, even if it means a beginning by a few individuals with a deep sense of passion for the cause. The Avahan Consortium is a group of like-minded CSR entities towards creating a gender harmonious community. The consortium members bring together their strengths, ideas, resources, and have both a think tank and implementation roles. If you have dared to dream of a different world, passionate to drive a challenging cause, believe you have the power to make a change in the lives of young boys and girls, here is the Avahan, a welcome and invitation to join the cause. take it forward and spread the word of gender equality and harmony. To know more,
So that's about Avahan. It was launched during the COVID times in 2020. And till today, we have reached up about 2,750 girls and 1,300 boys, totaling to about 4,000 children across Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Telangana. We started our program at Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh, and then Gorakhpur, and then Maharashtra and Telangana. And now the programs are going on here. Our objective, our focus is more the depth of our reach and not so much the width of our reach, because we believe that the program, the section of people where you have introduced it, we try to do the boys and the girls section all in the same communities, so that there is a change in that set of society. So every program of 50 children, we bring out 2 to 5 champions, and these are coached deeper and further so that they become responsible to carry on this after we finish our initial training. It's most essential that this practice continues for a long period of time, and that is when it's going to really make the change. And we therefore encourage these champions to take this forward, because if not, this whole effort would be quite fruitless. The feedback that we have had from the boys and girls have been very overwhelming. 800 girls were, we had a feedback for 800 girls, and 97% of them said that we feel far more confident now. 88% of them said that we could handle any sexual harassment. Then 88% of girls who had earlier done some martial training or self-defense programs said they found Avahan different in the sense they could learn easy to remember techniques here. So that is, and quoting from what the boys had to say, one of them said, "The first time I learned teasing is a wrong thing. I will not see a girl with buri nazar, and I will not let others see too." So this bystander action was very moving. Another said, "I want to be a trainer and take it forward in my village." And there were many more, but I have to stop here. We are aware that the impact that we are making through the Shri Ram Charitable Trust is a drop in the ocean. But however, our attempt is to sow the seeds to a future harmonious and equitable society. And we hope through the Avahan program, we should achieve it. We know this is a Herculean task, but every long journey, every challenging journey has to have its first steps, and that's what we are attempting to do. We aspire to achieve a much larger impact by creating a consortium of individuals, industries who will embrace this cause and take it up with us. We do not want the Avahan program maybe curated by the Shri Ram Charitable Trust, but to stay as a program of the trust. We want this to be a program of a consortium of industries who embraces it, owns it, and takes it forward. And the consortium will be, we could redesign the program. We can have brainstormings to see how we can strategize differently. Then the consortium, we look at it as a flexible group coming together, working both as a think tank and as implementation partners. The unique strength of this consortium would be, of this model, would be not only to scale up rapidly, but also to be able to reach up to government and other institutions who have the power and authority to make equal and harmonious communities a reality. And for this, I appeal to all of you, take the message forward. You all can be the change makers. You can be part of a consortium. We are looking forward at getting this consortium together, because that is when it will really scale up. Almost every company has to spend its CSR somewhere. If they could embrace it take it up in their own geographies. The model can be the same. They can take it up the way they want to. The model can be modified to some extent, but Avahan as a brand or as a program has to grow. We have to be able to make that impact at the government levels, and we have to, at one point of time, see that this is taken up as an essential mandatory requirement to be brought in schools and colleges. That is the idea. We've made our first step towards it, and we hope together, the consortium, we can make a bigger impact. Again, here, any further questions on this? Any ideas on how we can take it forward?
I think there are a lot of comments appreciating the initiatives, as you can read from there. One question I had is, you did allude to it just now. Many great initiatives wither away when the passionate founder is not there to sustain them. And of course, there are several examples of this. You mentioned some initiatives to make it into a consortium. What are the specific policies that Avahan or COVI are embracing to not only be the change agent on the ground, but also become the institution, the go-to institution for the others who want to execute on this, adopt this? Like, can Avahan be packaged as a Avahan in a box? So some industrial association wants to do it in Gujarat. They come to Avahan and you have a ready-made package, which lays down the policies and everything. Are there such initiatives in your thinking?
Yeah, so what we are looking at right now is the program is curated. We are tied up with some specific trained martial arts trainers on the self-defense, and we are tied up with, not tied up, we have got a lot of material to take it forward through an organization called Equal Communities Foundation that has done a lot of work on it. So we have curated this whole program, and we therefore can stay like we want to bring awareness on this to people, to other industries, and anybody who finds it interesting and wants to take it forward, we can partner with them as the knowledge partner with no other interest but giving them the scheme, supporting them with the trainers, because we have got quite a few trained, and then they come together. The whole program is independently theirs. We've not formed an organization or something where one has got to. At this point of time, the thinking is a loosely held group of industries is the consortium, and along the line, then we can evolve when there are more people who are in to give ideas. We can relook at how it should be. But as of now, we feel each one would like to be independent in terms of how they spend on it, because the whole program would require spending. So they can decide on what size they want to go, how they want to spend on it. But the model, or rather the curriculum, shall we call it, or what the training can be, shared with them. The support can be given by us as of now. And in due course, we could evolve. See, this thing, at this point of time, we have only one more. We started, we have one or two others who have joined as in terms of being a part of the consortium and their own spending. But otherwise, everywhere, it's we who are doing it. Once we get a group of them, then there can be more brainstorming on how we can form this. In Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs, we have done a very detailed structure on it. So now, irrespective of whether the founders, the board are there or not there, the structure is so well laid out, and who is going to move on and take over, and how there'll be a next board. So, I mean, I believe that is very well laid out and will go on irrespective of the founders who are passionate. In fact, you see the passion in the next teams that's coming. That's one of the best things about contribution of knowledge, because you find so many coming forward, really owning up and feeling it's theirs.
I think those are very good ideas or initiatives you have. I mean, just to share, one of the speakers we had, I think more than a couple of years ago, is R.S. Praveen Kumar. Some of you may have heard of him. He's an IPS officer. Now, of course, he's joined politics, unfortunately. He is the guy who set up this residential schools for the government of Telangana. It started in the composite Andhra Pradesh. You must have heard of the girl who climbed Mount Everest and so many other things. He has taken children from the lowest strata of society and created the best school environment in the government sector, including self-defense, like what you said. So one of the things he spoke to us at that time was how he institutionalized it was training of the teachers in all of these schools. I think there were over 200 or 250 schools. I mean, hundreds of thousands of children. And he was the secretary of that society, Telangana State Society for Residential Schools or something. Government of Telangana initiated. The second thing which was very interesting is he made it mandatory for parents of the students to attend the orientation at the start of each academic year. So he made the parents also partners in this change management. And the third thing I remember from the talk is he has leveraged the students who passed out of these schools, the alumni, themselves to be ambassadors.
Right.
And some of them have gone back as trainers. So, some of this you may wish to consider. And he's a great guy. I mean, forget his political part, but he's a very good, he is very passionate like you. And he has delivered in a government setup, which is very amazing. So R.S. Praveen Kumar, the former, I think he was IG or that right.
I think I have met Mr. Praveen Kumar.
Yeah.
He come. Yeah, I think definitely, but Nalini, maybe you can throw light. Was it Mr. Praveen Kumar who came and visited? I mean, we run a school in the rural sector too, the trust, Shriram Charitable Trust. And Mr. Praveen Kumar had come and visited our school.
I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am. It was Mr. Praveen Kumar.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he's the same gentleman. I mean, totally bald and right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Correct. So he has some great ideas.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot about Mr. Praveen Kumar, and that's why we had invited him actually to see us.
Yeah, he spoke at a FOSWL meeting, I think maybe a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Well, there are more and more appreciation comments, no questions, I think here. But
we are only looking forward to all of them joining us in this cause. I mean, in whichever ways they could be, actually implementing the program. They could take it forward to, those who they can influence to take this as their CSR initiative. I mean, so many companies who really want to do something in CSR, but often they just, they just do something because they have got to do something. And we are there to support in terms of even implementation if needed.
Right.
Whichever way that could be. So,
there's a question not related to the topic, but I think this is your classmate Murthy, I think. He wants to know whether Avahan, right?
Yeah, Avahan.
Avahan, does it originate from Ahwanam?
Avahan is a call. It says it's a call. It's I think the Hindi word for a call or a Sanskrit. And we say a call for gender equality and harmony. Avahan, a call for gender equality and harmony. So it just came,
And there was, of course, a tongue-in-cheek comment from our member. He says, I believe today is International Men's Day. Is that true? I didn't know that.
Okay,
But
that
we
I
are
don't
having
know,
you.
but I know that it's Women Entrepreneurship Day.
Yeah, so he says on that day we are having your talk on empowerment of women.
Women.
But he says he's enjoying it. So I think that's a left-handed compliment for you there. And your classmate Meena is asking, about FOSWL chapters. The primary mother chapter is in Cupertino, California. There is one more in Anaheim, California near LA, but I'm not sure. Uma Garu, can you throw light on that? Uma Seshadri Garu?
Yeah, actually, I have replied to
Oh, you did?
Meena.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So
That's
there is one, the operational one is at Cupertino, and the other one was at LA, as you mentioned, but that is now not operational. So we have only one in US as of now.
Where?
Cupertino, the main one.
Oh, you have more than one there. Tri-Valley also.
No, those are not FOSWL.
Okay.
FOSWL is conducted only by ICC Cupertino, that is West Valley.
I see. Okay, understood.
Yeah, yeah.
Suchita is asking, I understand you promote products from rural areas. How can you support them to make the products? And is it limited to Telangana and AP?
That's a question for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Suchita. So we, two things. One, we try to create these exhibitions that we do. And these exhibitions are supported by the government. So we give them stalls for free, especially women entrepreneurs from rural areas, women entrepreneurs, the SC/ST, they get it 100% free. Others have to pay a certain amount. So we tap on them to exhibit their products. The other was the cluster development, where the tribal farmers, we are trying to promote their haldi by upgrading it and finding good market for it. And we want to do more clusters. This is the first one that started, but we are in talks with the AP government for a textile cluster there. So that's the, and in the long run, we want to actually set up a Kovi Heart where, we can, these are a lot of efforts we are trying to put up, where we can put up their products with very marginal costs. Of course, we have to look at how to take care of our operations too. But yeah, these are some ways.
Very good. I think, Vijay, you wanted to say something?
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I wanted to talk about Avahan and how it's great what it's doing with adolescent children. I was thinking it's probably something that needs government and every school tie up. So if it is something, for instance, like the Hum Do Hamare Do campaign, if even her video could be shown, on every TV, it needs to be a lesson taught at an earlier level, even from childhood. Children need to see that, in the US, they say by age 8 or 9, kids think that girls can't do math. And there are a lot of differences in how people see the two genders. And if it is so in this country, imagine what it is in rural India. So I think anybody in this audience and anywhere else who can help her tie up with schools and also with the government, I think if HR, whatever human resources, whatever they are called in every country, if they take up this as a very important mission, it will transform versus little drops in the bucket. Thank you.
Yeah, Vijay, we need to spread this message more and more and try to get more and more supporters. I just read Sucheta's question, so I think I missed out one part. How can you support them to make products, and is it limited to Telangana and AP also? So how we support them to make products? We're doing skill building. We have done skill. One of the one program that I can tell you in Rajasthan, Kovi Rajasthan, has built their skills to this blue pottery, to set up potteries. They got, of course, all our program we have to get funding. So we got funding from SIDBI, and trained quite a few of them to make these blue potteries. And there is a bigger company that makes the blue pottery. And so now she outsources from these people. So that is one of the ways where we help them to make products. Then, of course, there is teaching them a lot of these, you should embroidery and tailoring, and that's there. And it's not like, I already said Rajasthan, so it's not limited to Telangana at all. Every state where we are, they work in their states. And we are in 11 states. I mean, just another very good example, maybe Gujarat, from support from the bank, they got the scheme for women to set up fruit juice carts. So they picked up, simple women, taught them to make fruit juice, got the bankers to fund them with the fruit juice cart. And so now each of them is a micro entrepreneur with a fruit juice cart. So that's another product. She's making fruit juice and she got the cart and the setup. This is what Gujarat chapter has done. Andhra chapter has done a few good things too. So this is the way we help them bring out some new products.
Yeah, Usha has a question. Does COVI have any collaboration with ELIP? Oh, I think we spoke about it. Yeah. They're similar bodies, I think.
They're similar bodies, both working for a similar cause, but we are not collaborating together. We know each other well and appreciate each other's work. Only ELIP is focused on Telangana, while I think now ELIP has a branch in Andhra too. But we've gone pan-India.
Yeah. Just a couple of announcements. I mean, many of you have punched in your name and email address, so we'll add you to the invite list. Please do mention your mobile number also. So we send out invites via email and more by WhatsApp. So if you have not put in your mobile number, I would suggest you do. And Uma, I don't know if you saw on the screen, but one more of your classmate, our common link, is also joined us a little late, Brian Papali.
Yeah. I saw Brian there.
Brian and me were schoolmates. He is my senior, of course. His younger brother and I are classmates from school. So
right. Brian told me that. Sent me a message on that today.
Oh, okay.
No, I was on from the beginning, actually, Subarao. I was driving, so I didn't show my face.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian, I saw your name right from the beginning.
Right.
No, Vijay nudged me. Thank you, Vijay, for nudging me from across the seas. Yeah.
Okay. Good to see Brian. So with that, if there are no more comments or questions, I'd like to bring this very interesting topic and talk to a close. Lot of good
Vijay,
thought.
you had some question, Vijay, which you put on the chat about share. You're on mute.
Yeah, well, no, first of all, very impressive. No, I was just, it was a parallel to what Vijay mentioned, because I think I keep thinking about scaling and working with government, with the schools, to make, because you're already doing, sharing the model, sharing materials. Ultimately, you can have sustainable scale if you make it part of school curricula, school practice. So somebody did respond, but not one school at a time. If there is some other way of doing it, which has much broader impact.
Vijay, you've got to show us the way, how to scale it up across schools like you have done in your other educational. I mean, the only way I could think of is first get the government to recognize that Avahan is making an impact. So therefore, I said, let's create a consortium and have a bigger impact. And then when they see that, and then they probably think, okay, then we have the strength to approach them and say, please do this in the schools. But if there is another way without putting all that effort and we can directly go, it would be great. We should see how we can do that.
Again, I'd like to share an idea from a talk which was just 2 months ago. I think Brian would know him. Another classmate of ours, his name is Narasimha Rao. He is known as Professor D.N. Rao from Indian Institute of Science. He is leading an effort which resonates with Vijay's idea. Post his retirement from active professorship, he is now heading the new campus of Indian Institute of Science in Chitradurg in Karnataka. And what the government of India has done is building a process to achieve scale for improving quality of science and mathematics teaching in government schools across the country. So this new center spread over 1,500 acres, almost 700 odd hectares, is dedicated to inviting batches of teachers from government schools from various states, and they would give them a 10-day or 12-day intense training based purely on experiments and how they should go back and teach concepts of science and mathematics to children in the government schools. And I don't remember the exact number, but I think 20 or 30,000 teachers have been trained in the last year and a half or two. So there is a dedicated facility in Indian Institute of Science which is doing this. And that is the scale I think Vijay is speaking about, if it has to make an impact.
Right. And we've done a similar thing with the Tata Institute for Social Sciences. With 1,100
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if there may be some opportunities for collaboration in such institutions because they have all the infrastructure. The professors come from Indian Institute of Science. They have good funding. The government of India is supporting. I think they are attempting to complete training all the teachers in Karnataka state sometime mid-year in 2023. And I think that's a phenomenal nation building exercise. If they can upscale the quality of teaching in government schools. So that's going to be a phenomenal effort if it succeeds. So again, he's coming also in January for our reunion. So if you'd like to have a powwow with him, more than happy to connect you.
Yeah, that would be good. See how either through his connections and the Indian Sign or through TISLs or, we can reach up all those schools there. I mean, start the pact,
very good.
Reaching up there, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Uma. It was a very fascinating, talk to just see what you're doing, not what you're dreaming still or wanting to do, but what you've actually, done on the ground. And I think from the lot of appreciative comments in the chat box, you can say my sentiment is shared by almost all of the people who are on the call this evening.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I must introduce you all to Nalini, the person behind this whole Avahan, rather the person taking it all forward. I had an idea and, and she is the one who's actually implementing it. The voice that you hear on the video is Nalini's voice. She's here on the thing. Nalini, if you're, and that's her voice talking. She actually went to the field, met the children, and if you see that interview with those girls is also Nalini doing it directly. I mean, to assess how things were happening, she moves on the field. Nalini, of course, she has a team with her, a team working under her, but Nalini has this whole initiative.
There she is. Maybe if you speak, Nalini, we can see you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I appreciate the comments in the chat box as well. Replication and scale up is a very scientific process that we are actually getting into right now. Our efforts have been to ground it, and it's like actually show that this is possible to do. Otherwise, gender equality is kind of something seems to be very utopian, but it's not. It's possible, and that's what we want to prove through this. And Uma ma'am, great person to work with to take some of these and ground them. Thank you.
Sometimes very difficult too, but then Nalini makes
but that's how it is. Thank you. Thanks for all this. Yeah.
Thank you then, and may now invite our Joint Secretary, Mr. Somasekhar Rao, to propose a formal vote of thanks. Somasekhar Rao.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. President of FOSWL Hyderabad, Sri Venkateswara Garu, distinguished speaker, Ms. Uma Ghurka, family and friends of late Nallamoth Subbarao, FOSWLians and invitees. Thank you all for joining our 167th monthly meeting. This is the 11th monthly meeting in our 14th year without a break. We thank the family members of late Nallamoth Subbarao Garu for establishing an annual endowment lecture in the month of November. In his name, we also thank Sri Venkateswara Garu Tripurneni for the logistic sponsorship for the month of November every year in the name of his wife, Srimati Nirmala Devi Tripurneni. Thank you, Ms. Neha Karnam, for reading the prayer. Thank you, Mr. Mahesh Jasti, for joining us from Denver, Colorado, and telling us about the life and work of late Nallamoth Subbarao. Thank you, Ms. Vijayanadan, for joining us from San Jose, California, and for introducing the distinguished speaker. Probably no one is better qualified to talk on the subject of today's talk than Ms. Uma Ghurka. She has literally walked the talk, and we say we can see from her own career. What is even more inspiring is that she has made it her mission to empower women through gainful employment and promoting gender sensitization. And even more laudable is that she has institutionalized these initiatives and process to ensure that they are sustainable. Thank you very much, Mrs. Uma Ghurka, for spending the evening with us and for sharing your thoughts on this important aspect of our society. We propose to continue with this Zoom meeting till further notice. There are some minor changes in our forthcoming meetings, which are as follows. 17th December this year, Ms. Seema Bhatt, Consultant Biodiversity and Ecotourism of Kalpavruksha and NGO, will speak on biodiversity and ecotourism and their interconnectedness. This meeting will mark the completion of 14 years of FOSWL Hyderabad. In 2023, we will feature Mr. Vijay Balakrishnan, a retired tech executive, will speak on his book, The Swaraj Spy. And another program, Mr. Sharma APVN, IAS Former Secretary, Ministry of Shipping and Ports, Government of India, will speak on development of the shipping and ports infrastructure in India in recent years. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Till we meet on the 3rd Saturday of December, the 17th of our 168th monthly meeting. Stay safe. You can switch on your telephones. Thank you.
Thank you, Somsekararu. So that brings to an end this very wonderful evening. You all have a safe and enjoyable weekend, and I will keep the meeting open for a few minutes in case some of you wish to punch in your details and wish to